Going to college or university has many tangible benefits. For example, higher levels of education usually means that graduates make more money, they have better employment opportunities, they have more skills, they have higher levels of literacy and numeracy, and more. But various countries differ significantly in how educated their populations are. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, or the OECD, is an authoritative source for information on the state of education around the world. Using data from the OECD, we can see how various countries compare in terms of their post-secondary completion rates and how men and women differ. By post-secondary, OECD means education such as a typical 4-year college degree or vocational training for a trade such as carpentry or for technical education like computer science programming. Basically, anything beyond high school would fall into this category. With this information, I'm going to present a countdown, an overview of the most educated countries in the world, describe how men and women differ in these countries in terms of their education levels, and provide a brief analysis of some of the nuances of this information. Welcome to Humanitas Academia, where I explore various aspects of education. If educational content such as this is interesting or useful to you, please like, subscribe, and share. Now, let's get started. Starting off, the 5th most educated country in the world is Australia, where 52% of Aussies aged 25 to 64 have completed some level of post-secondary education. In Australia, 55% of women compared to 46% of men have post-secondary education, a difference of 9%, which favors women. This difference between men and women is very common among countries in the OECD. Next, as the 4th most educated country in the world, we find Korea, where 53% of Koreans have completed post-secondary education to some level. Korea is unique, however, as it is one of only 5 countries out of 48 in the entire OECD dataset where men are more educated than women. In Korea, 55% of men have completed post-secondary compared to 51% of women. The only other countries in the data where men are more educated than women are Switzerland, Saudi Arabia, Germany, and India. Why this is the case, and why women have higher education levels than men in most countries, is a topic for another video, but please let me know in the comments if you have theories on why this is the case. In 3rd, as the most educated country in the world, we find Ireland, where 54% of people have completed some level of post-secondary. While Ireland is 3rd overall, Irish women are the 2nd most educated group of women in the world. Irish men, in comparison, are represented at 50%, which is a 9% difference favoring women, which is exactly the same difference between men and women as found in Australia. The 2nd most educated country out of all the countries in the OECD is Japan, where 56% of adults aged 25 to 64 have completed some form of post-secondary education. Women are more educated than men in Japan, but unlike Ireland and Australia, where the differences favor women by almost 10%, in Japan, both genders are almost equally as educated. 57% of Japanese women have completed some post-secondary education, while 55% of Japanese men have as well, a difference of only 2%. This suggests that both sexes in Japan have had relatively similar educational attainment for a long time. Some honorable mentions before the first place spot. The OECD shows that the UK and the USA are both around 50% in terms of their population's level of post-secondary attainment. The UK has the 7th spot overall, while the USA has the 9th. In the UK, women complete post-secondary slightly more than men, with 50% of men and 53% of women having this level of education. This difference between men and women is minimal and similar to Japan, suggesting that it's not merely an Eastern trend. Conversely, in the USA, 46% of men complete some level of post-secondary education compared to 54% of American women, a difference of 8% favoring the women. This difference is much more in line with Australia and Ireland. Finally, the most educated country in the world, according to the OECD data, is Canada. In Canada, 63% of adults aged 25 to 64 have completed some level of post-secondary education, putting Canada almost 10% points higher than the 2nd place country of Japan. One reason why Canada ranks so high in comparison to the other countries on this list is that 70% of Canadian women have completed some level of post-secondary education compared to only 56% of men. This level of educational attainment for women is the highest in the OECD by 11%. This is a significant margin and helps increase Canada's overall percentage when compared to the other countries on this list. Why women are so much higher than men in Canada is a topic for a future video. In conclusion, countries significantly differ in terms of how educated their populations are. In this video, I presented the top 5 most educated countries with some honorable mentions. The average education rate found in the OECD is 41%. That means that all the countries mentioned in this video are all significantly above average in terms of their post-secondary completion levels. There are many countries that have significantly less educated populations, and this will be covered in a video soon. Stay tuned for more, as I will be discussing more on this topic in the future, and thank you very much for watching.